Is that time. It is late night Q&A. I don't know that we're mock drafting. We'll mock draft later this week. I'll do it maybe Friday night, Saturday night. Tonight I just want to get on here and discuss a few things, Dalvin Cook being one of them. Actually take some voice messages from Instagram, but get on here, talk a little Dalvin Cook, little late night Q&A. We haven't done one of these numbers in quite a bit. If you're new, subscribe, hit the like button, and ask a question in the chat if you've got one. Also, if you want to drop me a voice message on Instagram, all you have to do is go to this right here.
It's voicemail time. Drop a voicemail at the Fantasy Football Show on the gram. Tell your grandma.
He'll punch you in the throat.
So drop that, and I will go find your message. And if you think you're going to be a regular on the voice message game, then send me a DM and say voice message, and hey, Smitty, add me to your voicemail group, and have a specific group chat where it's a little easier to find questions. But I do go searching all over the place as well. Let's hit the voicemails, and we'll get into the let's see here. Get into the Dalvin Cook topic here. So let's roll. Oh, it would help to take out my AirPods.
Tell us about the one time major NFL news broke, whatever it was, and you were at a place where you couldn't go live, or you went live to tell everybody in the most random place.
The most random place I've gone live to break news? Man, that's a good one. Probably just like, at like a Christmas or a Thanksgiving dinner or something like that. Movie theater, I think I've gone live at. A lot of parking lots, a lot of grocery stores, I'm out for a run, but nothing like crazy. Like I'm in some strange, like I've never had to go live in a weird area, but I don't know, maybe because I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm boring. But I'm definitely like, I'm committed to my work to where like I'm literally like working out, running at the store, getting food, or in the studio, so the odds of me being somewhere weird anyway, I go on like one vacation a year, if that, and I'm just working. So I don't know. Probably those locations.
Hey, Smitty, as the tight end whisperer, who is a sleeper for 2022?
Sleeper for 2022. We're talking tight end. I would say, I wouldn't even say there's any tight end hiding that is like a no-name guy. You have Freiermuth at the 6 to 10 range. You have Knox at the 4 to 6 range. I think those two tight ends are probably the most attractive breakout tight end grabs you can find. Kelsey, Andrews, Kittle, Pitts, those are all very high guys to draft. You're not going to steal those guys away at any like sub, or 5+ value range. But I think Darren Waller, even though he's a big name from last year, people are so soured on him. He by default is going as the 5th or 6th or even 7th tight end taken. Sometimes he's going like in the late 5th or 6th round. And when you get into round 6 and Darren Waller is sitting there, he's got potential to win you a league from round 6. So even though it's a big name, even though you know it, Darren Waller is probably the most attractive tight end grab in 2022 if he's sitting there in the 6th round. Knox in the 6th or 7th round, Freiermuth in the 8th round, 7th round, Schultz, Goddard, those are all pretty good options. And if Aaron Rodgers lands in Denver, best ball drafters taking advantage of Noah Fant or Freiermuth. Freiermuth could be the number 5 guy. Freiermuth could be if Aaron Rodgers lands in Pittsburgh, Freiermuth is top 4 to 5 to me. If Aaron Rodgers lands in Denver, Noah Fant's probably round 5 or 5 or 6. Knox would still compete with him. Freiermuth depends on who's quarterbacking in Pittsburgh. If it's Jimmy G, not a big fan of Freiermuth getting the most out of him at least. Schultz is pretty solid. There's a lot of good tight ends in 2022.
Hey, Smitty, where do you rank Joe Mixon going in 2022?
Joe Mixon going into 2022. The turn. I can't rank them, obviously running back wise. You got JT, Najee, Austin Eckler, Javonte, and then you're going to have people drafting Cook and Henry, and then you got to mix in these wide receivers. Like, if it's me, I'm not taking Mixon over Jefferson. I'm not taking Mixon over Kupp. I'm not taking Mixon over Jamar Chase. So those are 3 wide receivers that you're almost certain to get one of at the turn pick. So that leaves Mixon as much as I want to say first rounder, because those wide receivers are, in my opinion, 4, 5, and 6 overall in redraft. I'm telling you, Kupp top 4, 5, and 6. Kupp, Jefferson, Jamar Chase are all top 4, 5, and 6 to me. There's a select group of running backs. I'm not taking Cook, and we'll talk about him in a second. I'm not taking Derrick Henry over those 3 wide receivers. And I don't care about the scarcity of the running back like I'm some moron, and someone always drops that comment about 100 times in a row. Not in this chat, but I mean later on, like in a DM or on especially on like a comment on Instagram or something, is, Smitty, don't you know that running backs are, like, don't talk to me about something as trivial as that. Like, I understand. I understand the assignment. And the assignment is take the best player available, and that running backs can bust pretty hardcore. Evidence, look at 2021's ADP. Just take a gander at 2021. Not to say wide receivers didn't bust too, but you are very, very much running a high risk of injury with Dalvin Cook, with Alvin Kamara. If for any reason you're thinking of banking on him, he was a guy to avoid walking into 2022 anyway. Now he's got this off the field issue. People have been mock drafting him in the second round. It's a mistake. You've got Cook, you've got Henry, you got a bunch of guys that are potential huge injury risks. All these old dogs are big red flags for me. Christian McCaffrey, I don't want any part of them. If there was a wide receiver left like Jefferson, Jamar Chase, or Cooper Kupp, and all 3 of these guys in a normal setting, not a fantasy football show, not anywhere near the fantasy football show community, in a normal setting, one of those wide receivers will be there at number 12 for you, because in normal, everyday fantasy football mock draft environments that are not related to our community or specific to our community, you're literally looking at a bunch of eyeball emojis from people and a bunch of shocked looks of expressions of are you nuts if you take a wide receiver over some of those running backs. So for me, I know I'm gonna see these guys available. And that makes me very confident in the wide receiver running back approach, or wide receiver approach. Do I want a wide receiver? What about Kamara? Kamara's not draftable right now. You can't draft Alvin Kamara, because if you draft Alvin Kamara, to this question right here, where are you going to have to draft him? In the first or second round? And you can't draft him there right now. So therefore, you're not going to own him, or you're running the risk of being left totally empty-handed. This guy might miss, if not the full season, half a season. You don't really know what's in store for Alvin Kamara. A lot of people say slap on the wrist. He's going to get a slap on the wrist. No, I don't think that's the case. This is a different day and age where the NFL doesn't slap your wrist when you do something like this. The NFL is pretty notorious for taking action and sometimes overdoing it when a player is involved in something like this. Now, the team, it's probably going to be a team issue, but there's a very good chance that he gets sat on the bench. And if more comes out of it, we'll see. But I don't know. It's crazy. I wouldn't go near him. Not in the first or second round. Not until we hear more or get clarification that he would potentially play. Could we be overreacting? Could Kamara hit the field? This is kind of similar to when Dalvin Cook, the news broke on Dalvin Cook, which we'll go over in a minute, where it looked like he was going to be missing the entire year because of his off-the-field issues at the end of the year, and then nothing came of it. So are we running the risk of the same thing here? We're overreacting to Alvin Kamara. We avoid him, and then he doesn't miss any time at all, and somebody steals him away? Potentially. If we're talking dynasty, I don't go near him in the second or third round. If we're talking redraft, I mean, I could get a little more behind second round value, but if you think I'm taking Alvin Kamara over Chase, Jefferson, or Cup. That's craziness to me. That's absolute craziness to me. Rockout says, hit the like button. Appreciate that. I'm so ready for Lance, man. Most excited I've been for a QB in years. Agreed. Top 5 QB next year. I'm in a 2 QB league. Top 5 QBs are very, very simple, bro. Very, very simple. You've got, You've got the 4 young bucks, bro. You've got Allen. You got Mahomes. You've got either Herbert or Burrow. You can put Herbs here. I keep putting Burrow there, but I could go either way, and I love Herbert. Herbert could climb to the 3 spot. Burrow, and then you've got Trey Lance. Now, that is not to say you draft Trey Lance at the 5 spot, because nobody's understanding what I'm saying when I put him at 5. You take advantage of it. You take advantage of it. There's no way you need to at all entertain taking him anywhere near this range. Like, you're going to have probably 3 to 4, maybe 5 quarterbacks that are going to go before Trey Lance. Then it's Lance. Okay? If you take Lance as the 5th quarterback, you are getting way too excited, and you're ruining all of the value. You're ruining all of the upside by getting too excited, not being patient, and understanding, as we said earlier, the assignment. What does it take to get my dynasty team rated by you? I mean, anybody in my text advice group. So if you have a sleeperu.com lifetime membership, if you go to sleeperu.com, anybody that has that wants their team rated, can ask me to do that at any moment. Anybody in my Patreon group, which I'm starting here soon, that will be specifically about that. So I'm going to start a Patreon group, and if you're a part of the Patreon group, you can ask questions in there, and I will answer in this group setting questions all day long. So I'll come in and chime in, and I'll also, if you want your team rated on the show, people in the Patreon group can post their lineup and say, please rate it on the show, and I'll do a specific show once a week rating teams and pulling graphics on the screen and going over your team in front of everybody. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye on when that, actually, I mean, I could drop the link. Let me find it. It's smitty1.com/Patreon probably. Let's see. No, I haven't fixed that yet. Hold on. Patreon. Let me find the link. Patreon.com/The Fantasy Football Show. It's easy to get to, but let me drop the link just because it makes it a little easier. So if you go to this link right here, and if you subscribe, if you get on this now and then DM me your team, I'll do it right now, bro. Let's see, live chat, post link. Okay, I pinned it. So if you're a part of that right now, bro, and then DM me on Instagram or on Patreon if you can, and I will, let me pin that message. I'll review your team right now. Totally up to you. Let's see here. Clayton. Eckler or Najee? Redraft. Took Eckler over Najee in my most recent mock. Najee's team scares me. Don't be scared of Najee Harris, bro. I like both of them. You can't really go wrong. I can't rip apart anybody that wants to have Eckler over Najee. Eckler scoring massive amounts of touchdowns. He finished the season off on fire. Both of them are very capable of being top 3 or 4 quarterbacks for not only this year but the next year as well. So dynasty wise, I like both of them. But I'm drafting Najee personally. I think if A-Rod or Watson or Wilson or a quarterback lands there, it could be phenomenal for him. I think the odds of them getting one of those 3 quarterbacks, they aren't like amazing odds, but they're definitely decent. I think Watson does not want to be in Houston, and I think Houston does not want Watson there. Maybe Lovie Smith does, but nobody else does, though. The team does not want him there. Upper management does not want him there. So it's probably a good bet he's traded. Then again, he could be taken off the board entirely. But even if let's say Najee gets like a Jimmy G or a Carson Wentz, which isn't ideal, but look what he did with Ben Roethlisberger. So I don't think that things are going to change too much. We just want things to get better. We actually want Najee to be looking at a better situation that gets this offense into the red zone more frequently, because then that will turn into more touchdown production for Najee and more touchdown opportunities. And all he needs is touchdown opportunities. So Eckler I like a lot. I don't dislike Eckler at all. Najee's just, I think he could be on another level. Eckler worries me a little bit, like, because of his stature. I mean, he's a tough dude, but I worry about him getting hurt. I do worry about him getting hurt, but not enough to keep him out of my top 5, top 6 overall. Waddle or Deebo, I don't like here. I understand this debate, and it definitely, Waddle has the upside to really maybe make this a battle. Like, I'm not trying to devalue Waddle, but I don't see how. Oh, that's not the question. Where is that question? Waddle, yeah, here we go. Waddle or Deebo. I just don't know how we can talk about Waddle at this level yet, because Deebo's going between 10 and 14. He should be. So I don't know how we can say Waddle over Deebo. Can we say Waddle could be as good as Deebo? And in hindsight, we're going to be like, man, we get Waddle literally a round and a half later or more, and we get Deebo stats. Yeah, totally. And Waddle's a breakout, especially you give him McDaniel, who had a big, heavy hand in why Deebo turned into the player that Deebo turned into. McDaniel was the architect, potentially, of all that. We don't know for certain how much of it was him, because the Niners don't tell you much about how the inner workings go there in San Francisco. But everything I'm hearing is this guy's an X's and O's guy, bigger responsibility with that offensive creativity than people understand. And he loves Waddle already. He wants to use Waddle already. And I think this guy, McDaniel, is not going to be scared to try and utilize him very much like he utilized and helped utilize Deebo. So definitely the Waddle's upside. There's definitely Deebo potential, but I don't think we can start comparing a guy you're going to take at 8, 11, 10, 13, a steal at 13, 14, 15. Deebo, if Deebo's still there at 13, 14, 15, I'm taking him almost every time. As your second drafted player, he deserves arguably to be your first drafted player, like a late first rounder. I'm not taking him at 5 or 6 or anything crazy, but I mean 12, 13, 14, 15, he feels like a steal. Waddle's got that appeal. We just got to be very careful not to overdraft him and ruin the upside if he takes a little time to get going. How do I feel about the Ukraine situation? I don't know, man. Hopefully things don't go sideways, man. And I haven't been watching today on it. I could turn on the news here and see, is there something crazy like happened the last like 10, 12 hours? Let me pull it up. Let me know if something's changed the last 10 or 12 hours, but hopefully things don't get out of hand. That team where I took Eckler over Najee ended up with Herbert, Eckler, Javonte Waddle, A.J. Brown, Mitchell, Carter. I like that. That's a really good team. And to answer one of the other questions, do I tend to maybe like to go wide receiver versus running back? I've pretty much explained this 100 times on the show. Not saying that in a negative way, like I'm repeating myself. I don't mind repeating myself. I'm just letting you know that I do talk about this a lot, so continue to expect to hear it. Air raid sirens as Russia invades you. Okay, I guess I have been out of the loop the last 10 to 12 hours. Yes, Russia sent missiles into Ukraine, officially sparking war this morning. Okay, apparently I haven't had the news on much. I've been doing all the NFL stuff, but I turned on the TV right now and I see explosions and stuff. I was hoping it wouldn't get to this. Obviously, I've been out of the loop today on that. here's what I'm thinking. I'll keep an eye on it right now, though. Here's what I'm thinking. What was the question? Wide receiver? Yeah. So, I forget what I was going to draw on here, though. So, here's rounds 1, 2, and 3. I traditionally find on the regular that right around 1.5, right around 1.5, all the way down to probably like 2.11, and this is roughly, okay, roughly. This entire range right here, it feels like 8 times out of 10, wide receiver is the answer. So 8 times out of 10 when I'm on the clock. That's a rough guesstimation. But 8 times out of 10 when I'm on the clock between 1.5 and 2.11. Not to say that 8 straight wide receivers should go, or that I'm trying to word it like that. I'm merely telling you that when I'm on the clock, I usually find wide receiver is what I want to take here, because wide receiver is best player available, which means that on average, people are leaving enough wide receivers that they overpower the running back values. Like Swift, I go Swift once. Like if I go wide receiver like Jamar Chase in round 1, and then I get to round 2, and it's between Swift and a wide receiver I absolutely love, but they feel kind of similar, I'm very, very tempted to go Swift if I want balance, because all things being equal, I will lean positional. You know what I mean? But it has to be equal. It has to feel very, very equal, or very, very close. I will lean position heavy. My decision could be position based if things are extremely close. So in this example here, if like I'm looking at wide receivers like AJ Brown versus running backs like I'm not taking Mitchell until this range here in the 3rd round. I'm not taking Mitchell in the 2nd round. There's a lot of running backs that some people would take that I wouldn't in round 2, and I'm always going to see an AJ Brown or a Diggs or even a DK at the very end of the 2nd round. And I'm taking those guys over, I mean, Gibson. I like Gibson, but I'm not banking on him this year. I'm not. I just feel like once all the top running backs, the top perceived running backs, so from Jonathan Taylor down to Mixon really are gone, and really even McCaffrey, I think, at that turn, I would take McCaffrey right around this range in 1 or 2 leagues, but only in 1 or 2 leagues. I'm not putting all my eggs in McCaffrey's basket at all. But I don't mind McCaffrey at the turn, the 12-13 turn. But past McCaffrey, and assuming that, like, you know, Javonte, Henry, Cook, all those guys are gone, you're talking about once Mixon's gone, you're talking about like a dead zone. This is like a running back dead zone where maybe Swift lives that I'm okay with if I need a running back and I feel like I need to go positional for the time being because everything feels equal. It's like a dead zone. It's a dead zone. Sometimes Nick Chubb is there. Sometimes he's not. A lot of the time Swift is there. Then it's like, for me, what I end up thinking at this point is I'd rather get Mitchell in round 3. I'd rather get Kenneth Walker or Breece Hall later than to force a running back just because I want to force it. Even if I went wide receiver in round 1, and let's say I took Jamar Chase right here, and then my pick is right here, I'm not grabbing a running back just because I went wide receiver. I'm sorry. If Deebo fell, I would take Deebo without hesitation. And sometimes he does fall there. If Diggs falls there, if AJ Brown falls there, I'm not forcing running back. I don't mind going Swift. That's not a horrible option. Chase Swift is not a bad start. But I most certainly would take Deebo if he fell anywhere in that second round. I would with absolute ease. I'd even venture to say, so if you had this pick too, that I would go Josh Allen here and go Deebo, Chase, Josh Allen, and I wouldn't lose much sleep over it. And I would say to myself, you know what? Creativity, kick into gear, Smitty. Find yourself some running backs like Monty and some rookies. Get Breece Hall and Monty in a rotation. I'd be fine with that. I'm not scared of that. I'm not scared of taking in this 4th round range. So here's round 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, 6. I'm not scared to go Monty and Breece Hall and grab, Pollard later. Grab Madison later. Grab the Stevenson later, depending on how his value, shakes out here in the coming weeks and months. Like I could do that all day long. I'm fine with that. I don't care. I have no worries at all going 0 running back because a Monty, a Hall, I could platoon that and feel very comfortable because my only weakness will be that 4th and 5th rounder, and I kind of feel comfortable with that. I'm kind of feeling comfortable with that, so I'm not scared of that at all. I'm not scared of that approach whatsoever. I feel like Singletary's not bad, broski. He's not bad. I think ETN will be huge. Again, ETN, perfect. Throw ETN in right here. ETN, Monty, Hall. These guys are all fantastic running backs. Other running backs that you could throw in there. I mean, Walker sometimes falls here, so you could go Kenneth Walker. I mean, you guys tell me, is this team not fire? You go Josh Allen at quarterback. Running back, you get Monty. Actually, you know what? Let's make it Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, ETN. Those are our running back stable. That's our rotation. And then at wide receiver, because we went extremely heavy wide receiver, we got Jamar Chase and Deebo. Like, who's scared of that team? I mean, who's scared to draft that kind of team? Is there anybody that's like, I just can't have running backs like that? I mean, I understand if that's how you feel, but me, I'd take that team any day. Josh Allen, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, ETN, Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel. I mean, it's fantastic. Yeah, Frank, Kenneth Walker, probably the number 1 rookie running back. Breece Hall, probably the number 2 rookie running back. Some will say Spiller. I'm not huge on Spiller. I think he's not going to be as big as people think, but you never know. But yeah, I mean, I love that Smokey Cat. Do you like it? Hasbulla says he likes it. He likes that team. I think that team's pretty fire. I'll show you again. So looking at, like, let's say a middle or maybe even like later, let's call this like 1.7 or 1.6 draft slot. So that would get you Deebo a little higher. So let's say Deebo was a few slots higher just to make it more realistic. So you get Jamar Chase, Deebo right around the middle. I'll even write him in the middle just so people don't think he's at the end. So we'll put Deebo right about here. Josh Allen. So Jamar Chase, Deebo, Josh Allen, and then your choice of these guys: Monty, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, ETN. I think ETN and Kenneth Walker would be, or Hall, depending on, or all three. I think this would be the best running back trio that anybody can walk out of 2022 fantasy football drafting with if you avoid running back for the first 3 rounds. If you can get your hands on ETN, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, those are 3 really good running back options. Really good running back options. Nobody should be passing on Javonte, bro. But Javante's probably going to go in the top 4 or 5. By the time anybody drafts, I think he's going to go in the top 4 or 5. Yeah, I mean, this is just probably the tip of the night right here. 0 running back strategy. And we'll put up not Henry. It would be ETN, Walker, Hall. That's my tip of the night. 0 running back strategy. Rounds 4 on. Get ETN, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall. The absolute magic at the running back spot, given that you're gonna have a Deebo and a Jamar Chase and a freaking Josh Allen. Like that's when you justify going Josh Allen. Okay, that's when you justify going Josh Allen. Now I do like Smokey Cat's idea here. You want a slightly better team. You want a slightly scarier team. How about this little number right here? Lance, this would be your round 1. This would be your round 1 pick right here. Chase, that'll be your round 1 pick. Deebo, your round 2 pick. Lamb, your round 3 pick. ETN, Walker, and then on the bench, Hall. Tell me that team doesn't look fantastic. That's pretty dope right there. Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel, CD Lamb, ETN, Walker, Hall, Trey Lance. I think I'd be pretty down for that team. I think that team would be pretty fire. I love Lamb at this value. This value is baked in. I think he has a monster season. I think people that doubt Lamb are not very patient people, and that's fine. I get it, but you need to be careful. You need to be careful not to doubt this man too heavily, because he's fallen into a range where the risk is baked in. What if you're not a top 5 in your draft? Yeah, let's break down. I'll break down something for you then. So let's say you're at 7. So if you don't have Jamar Chase, though, I mean that's no problem. You can go with. So Cup will probably be gone. Justin Jefferson, if you're drafting like anywhere in this range right here, I imagine you're going to get one of those 3 wide receivers, though. Every mock I do, I feel like if you don't get Jamar Chase, you probably get Justin Jefferson, you know. So if it's JJ, I'm totally fine with that. And then you can get JJ and Deebo. And then at this pick, you may or may not get Lamb. So this pick to me would be Lamb or Allen or Mahomes. And if you don't want to go that route, then it would be Lance sometime after this, 6th round. So Lance would be like somewhere in the 7 to 10. I don't know. If you had to take him in the 6th round, I would be okay with it. Like if his value climbs that high. That's kind of how I would look at things. This pick right here would be a great Walker or great ETN pick. ETN. I like that. This 5th round pick. Oh wait. Yeah. This 5th round pick. I don't know. McLaurin isn't a bad pick there. Yeah, we'll do some 2 QB leagues mock draft soon. Yosemite, last one of my leagues. Last in one of my leagues draft, I went Diggs, Cup, Allen, Godwin, and Pitts. Backfield with the Rams running backs. Yeah, I mean, you gotta, just because I wouldn't look at the wide receiver failed you. You gotta surround the wide receivers with the right picks too. So it's not like it guarantees you anything, but it just puts you in a good position if you're a good late running back drafter. If you're not a good late running back drafter, if you don't ever land breakouts and you're a guy that never has that running back that comes out and busts out onto the scene, it is going to be hard. Chase is going not top 5 just in this community. Yep, that's true. Jamar Chase is getting laughed at top 5 outside of our community. Because when I first started talking about Jamar Chase number 4 in redraft, you all laughed at me too in a consensus manner. Go look at the comments of that video. Go watch that live stream. So many had a problem with Jamar Chase at 4. This was like before the playoffs. Now everybody loves him. Allen, Mahomes, 3rd round. Herbert, 4th round. Smokey wants to know, yeah, I would try and get Herbert in round 5 if you can. If you can't, we'll find out where he falls in ADP, but I'd rather have Trey Lance in round 6 or 7 than in some cases any of these guys. It'll be hard for me to pass in Josh Allen in round 3. I almost abort the Lance idea if Allen comes to me. But in a way, I kind of want to forego the Allen pick, take Lamb, and then get Trey Lance because I feel like that could be a lot better. Let's see here. Barkley or Lamb 3rd round. You could argue either side, but I'm going to take Lamb. Let's get on to Dalvin Cook real quick. 46 of you in the room, please hit the thumbs up. Punch the... Oh, man, where did I put this? 0 running back. Yeah, 0 running back strategy. I didn't want to delete that. Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook. Where are those people that said Jamar Chase can't catch? Nowhere to be found, 49er. Nowhere to be found. These people ran for the hills. These people will not come back and admit they're wrong at all. Why are we down on Dalvin Cook? Number of reasons. Number one, injury history. The likelihood of this man having numerous injury risks are 100%. Like, he has multiple injury risks. The likelihood of him going down with one, hard to predict that. But I would say with that ball and socket, I've talked about this a lot, but he's got that torn labrum. And the labrum, basically your ball and your socket, they fit in perfectly. There's a little like lip, almost like, think of it like a rubber seal in a way. It goes all the way around this hole here where this ball goes into the socket. And without that seal, the ball would slide right out, right? The seal, given it's a perfect seal, makes it so that ball can't come out. That's your labrum, the seal, in a sense. And he's torn that. It's torn. And it's probably torn in multiple spots. No one's going to give us the x-rays. We don't fully know, but we have to assume, given how many times this man has dislocated his shoulder, that it's ripped. At least if it's the same spot, let's say, it's been ripping that spot over and over and it's not healing. Surgery, nothing's going to help that thing if it is the same spot. It's going to be so damaged right there. And if it's damaged in other spots, multiple places, then there's rips and potential ways for it to pop out in different angles of the ball and socket, moving. So if the ball and socket's angled a certain way, it might pop out that way. It might pop out that way. We don't really know. But the odds of this man's shoulder popping out of socket again are extremely high because it keeps happening. This isn't the first time it's happened. His shoulder alone is a big concern. Number 2, he had a very inconsistent season in 2021. He ended up finishing with decent numbers, but I think he had 6 TDs, and if you extrapolate, he missed, He missed, let's see, he played 13 games, 14, 15, 16. He missed 4 games. He missed 4 games in 2022. He missed 4 games. No, he missed 2 games in 2020. He missed 2 games in 2019. And he missed 5 games in 2020 or 2018. And he missed 12 games in his rookie season in 2017. He has never played a full season. Rookie year, torn ACL, played 4 games. Second year, comes back, has the hamstring issue, rushes for 600 yards, 11 games played. Horrible second year back. Horrible year back from his ACL tear. 2 TDs, just not what people expected. 11 games. 2019, the year that your man Smitty It's been in the intro video of every video until recently we took it out because we need to move on. We can't just hang on to the past and keep pumping up the calls that we've made. We got to move on and have new and different things going on the intro. But in every intro video I say Dalvin Cook, top 5 running back. And we put that in before he was a top 5 running back. This is like a predictive thing. We put it in the intro, played it in every video pretty much from the beginning of the channel because I started in 2018 on YouTube. And this is the year he breaks out and has 13 touchdowns on the ground, 1135, 4.5 yards per carry, 2020, 1557, 16 TDs on the ground. So 13 TDs, 16 TDs. He had a monster touchdown back-to-back performances in 2019 and 2020. Then here in 2021, let me put the graphic on screen so you guys can follow along as what I'm reading here. These are his career stats right here. And this is only rushing. I can break down the receiving as well, but here's Dalvin Cook's stats for his career. So 2017, again, his rookie year, 4 games, torn ACL. 2018 comes back, 615 yards, 2 TDs, horrible return. Hamstring injury often occurs after an ACL tear, just a bad season. So 2019, that's when we predicted him being a top 5 running back, and he dropped 1135, 13 TDs, was an absolute monster. Receiving that year, he had 53 catches for 519 yards. He's never been a big receiving TD guy, just to let you know. He's had 3 receiving TDs his entire career, which is kind of shockingly low. So 3 receiving TDs his entire career. That's really low. That's surprisingly low. He's had good yardage, though. In 2019, 519 yards. Last year, he only had 224 receiving yards, though. Last year was just a down year. Look at 2021. Yards per carry were good, but 6 TDs. 6 TDs, and he didn't have any receiving TDs either, and he only had the 224 yards. So ultimately, 1159, not a bad rushing season on 13 games. That's at 4.7 yards per pop average. Not horrible, but the fact that he only had 6 TDs, he got killed. And so, if we're being honest, like, Dalvin Cook isn't coming off of a year where we're like feeling comfortable, right? That he, injury risk or not, we know, well, we're getting Dalvin Cook, though. He's worth it. No, look, we don't know. Dalvin Cook not only has injury risk, he's coming off a very, very down year. 6 TDs. You extrapolate 6 TDs, divide it by 13, then remultiply it by the 17-game season. It's like 7.8, 7.5, what is that? Let's calculate it. 6 TDs divided by 13 times 17 games is 7.8. 7.8 touchdowns is what he was on pace for last year, even if he played 17 games. So, yeah, Madison is an absolute must. If you, like, it almost goes without saying, if you draft Dalvin Cook in 2022 and you don't draft Madison, you don't reach like a round and a half to make sure you get him. If you literally let somebody take him at his ADP and you just sit back twiddling your thumbs, you're going to be taking the biggest lap on this show.
Take a look.
You'll be taking the biggest lap known to man. Don't even show your face around the show for at least a week if you do that. If you come out of your draft with Dalvin Cook and no Madison, don't show up for at least a week. You're banned from the show for a week. Like that, it goes without saying. It goes without saying. Even myself, if I get sniped, don't get cute. Don't wait a round and a half early. But here's the thing. Why even do this? Why even go in the direction of having to cuff Madison to Cook when it's not just injury we're worried about? This dude's got an off the field issue that hasn't exactly gone away. This guy literally felt like he was going to be removed from playing football like a little bit past mid-season when this domestic dispute situation hit news wires, and his legal team filed restraining order or motion against the accuser before she did too much, and then it flipped the script on it. I think had his legal team not done that, he would have been in such a bad light that this dude may have not played several games after that incident. But this thing kind of went away, and maybe it does. Maybe there's some kind of, maybe he settled, as everybody says in the chat all the time. Maybe something's gonna make it go away. I don't know. Maybe we never hear about it again. That's a possibility. But with Kamara's situation, and depending on what happens with Kamara, if this triggers this individual to then bring it back into the light, create some news and a splash, whatever is happening with Kamara, they're almost by default going to have to apply it to Dalvin Cook. So you guys got to be prepared. You got to be prepared that there's multiple reasons to avoid Dalvin Cook. Why not go after, where's Dalvin Cook going? 5, 6, 7 overall, right? Why not just draft Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, or Jamar Chase, and then take Madison anyway? Steal Madison away from the Dalvin Cook owner, and then you have the best of both worlds. If Cook goes down, you get Madison's production that you were so excited about and felt almost good about cuffing Cook and Madison together, and you get that. And you don't have to wait for anything. You get Jefferson, you get Jamar Chase, or you get Cooper Kupp's production. And if Cook doesn't get hurt and stays healthy, you're not upset at yourself. You didn't miss. There's no being wrong here. If you take one of those wide receivers over Dalvin Cook, and you have Madison to boot, and let's say you don't ever use Madison. Let's say Cook stays healthy and Cooper Kupp stays healthy. You both win. You're not wrong. You didn't make a bad move. But if Cook goes down, it's a lot more likely for Cook to go down than the player you're taking to go down, with the shoulder injury, knee issues. I didn't even get to the other injury concerns. He's got a plethora of injury concerns. This man is carried off the field 2 or 3 times every single year. Multiple times during the year. He's literally carried off the field, crawls off the field. If you've owned him, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every year, 2 or 3 times, this guy feels like he's done for the season. On 2 or 3 occasions. He's just littered with injury concerns all over the place. Knee, ankle, foot, shoulder, everywhere. And then you throw on the fact that he was inconsistent last year. Maybe his body's going to start breaking down. Do you want to be left holding the bag the year that happens? Or would you rather sidestep into Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, or Jamar Chase? What I'm asking you to do is not to avoid Cook and then take another risk. I'm saying avoid Cook, step into a safer vehicle. One of the top 3 wide receivers, draft Madison anyway. It's the safest route. Where would I feel good taking Cook? I suppose somewhere where he probably will not fall, which is maybe the second round somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but if you're taking Justin Jefferson at the end of round 1 and you take Cook at the top of 2 and you cuff him, in one scenario, can I envision that being something I'd be willing to do? Sure. But in the end, again, you got to ask yourself the question, would you rather go with Deebo instead of Cook, and then you have Jefferson and Deebo? You take Madison later, you take the Monty and ETN stack, or the Kenneth Walker and ETN stack later. You maybe even slip in a CeeDee Lamb or a Josh Allen or whatever. Why not? Why go down the road of Dalvin Cook when you can sidestep into a much safer option in Kupp, Jefferson, or Jamar Chase? I just don't. I'm not going near Cook in the first round. I don't blame anybody for doing it. Make sure if you do, you grab Madison, or again, don't show up for about a good week or so, because we will not let you live it down. You cannot let somebody outsmart you and get Alexander Madison. If you wait until his ADP and you let Madison creep up to one of the next 3 or 4 running backs that are on the pre-rank list, you let him creep up to that spot, someone's going to get cute. Someone's going to always reach 3 or 4 picks down from the ADP rank. People don't get scared about reaching 3 or 4. People are nervous when you get that late in a draft, the 8th, 9th round. They won't scroll a whole scroll down and grab a player there on the average. Some will. You run the risk of it. But if you start letting Madison float up to where his ADP is and he's within no scrolling, like you can see his name without any kind of scrolling on the pre-rank list, you're in trouble. You screwed up. You made a huge mistake, a big calculation error to leave Madison in a place where he floats up in within vision of one scroll or no scroll on your pre-rank list. Do that, get burned. Don't do that. Don't do that. Where do you personally think Jimmy G goes? Honestly, I hope just nowhere where it impacts fantasy wide receivers. I don't want him in Pittsburgh. I don't want him in Washington. Put him somewhere where he barely affects anything. I mean, would I want Jimmy G in Pittsburgh over Mason Rudolph? Yes. But I hope that Pittsburgh's got a better plan than that. If you needed to choose one, Pollard or Madison, give me Pollard. I want both of them. They're both super handcuff, win a league running backs to put on your bench, but give me Pollard. I think Pollard's going to have a big year. Comps to Diggs, Bateman. I mean, I'm not writing Bateman off, but I'm certainly not totally on board because he's in a situation where I don't think he's going to be consistent. I don't think he can be consistent. And I just worry about him in that situation. I like him. I don't hate him. I'm not against him, and I'm fine with anybody believing in him. And his ADP should be fine. His ADP should be okay. I don't think anybody's reaching, but I just don't know the situation's gonna produce something consistent. I think I'm not a big believer in Lamar like everybody else. I think this year could be a struggle year for Lamar. He's kind of struggled a little bit, bits and pieces every year. In 2020, Lamar struggled for an entire half of a season, was literally benchable for like 7 or 8 games in fantasy football. Weeks 1 through, I don't know if it was week 7 or week 8, weeks 1 through 7, weeks 1 through 8, literally benchable. A benchable running back or quarterback. And then he bounced back and had a good finish to the year. Last year, he had his moments where it felt like he was falling apart again. And then he got hurt. And I know getting hurt's hard. It's hard to blame it on him, but he runs 150 times a season. It's tough. It's tough to count on him, bro. It's really tough to count on him. The only guy I trust in Baltimore is the tight end. Yeah, I mean, I definitely trust Andrews, but Andrews could vanish too a little bit. Like not his fault. It's Lamar. Lamar's a scary running back or a scary quarterback to trust. You know, and especially if he's not running a lot. This is an anti-Lamar show, so I'll just keep quiet on this one. No, you don't have to keep quiet on it, but I mean, if you believe in Lamar, you believe in Lamar. He's got talent, man. But I just don't. With the other options, I'd rather have Trey. I'd rather have Trey later because you can get Trey later. I'd rather have Herbert or Burrow, who you could get right around Lamar. I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers. You know, those are just safer quarterbacks to me. Lamar's just vanished for too many times for me. I don't blame you, though. I don't think you're wrong. We don't know who's right until it happens. But I just feel there's a risk involved in trusting Lamar Jackson. And the last 2 years, he has proven that to be correct. There has been a lot of risk and a lot of like lulls where he hasn't done anything. Lamar is good, but I'd rather have Trey at cost. Exactly. That's why I'm just gonna draft Trey. Why not Lamar and Trey? You can do that. And you can trade one, you know. I'm not against that at all. Smitty, there's been several articles early this month that where placing Jimmy G in Houston might be good for Brandon Cooks. Everybody makes fun of in the quad box that Jimmy G to Houston, but Houston would be a good place if they end up getting rid of Watson, but they have to get rid of Watson to get Jimmy G. Because you got to think about this, okay? Number one, Watson is guaranteed $35 million, bro. They're not going to bring in a $27 million Jimmy G and sit a $35 million Watson. So 0% chance of that happening. However, if they trade away Watson for draft capital and they want a bridge quarterback while they work on Mills, honestly, they should just throw Mills in and see. But this is Houston. They do a lot of dumb stuff. Houston may look into Jimmy G if they're actually able to get draft capital and a ton of it for Watson, but it's 2 trades that have to happen. Yeah, I like doing all kinds of crazy stuff in best ball. Like a Lamar Trey, that would be great in best ball. Patterson is 30, won't happen. I'm not sure what you're talking about with Patterson, but there's some talking about Patterson coming to the Niners, if that's what you mean. Wouldn't be a bad situation, but yeah, he is older, and I don't know how much he's able to continue to play like he was. He kind of dropped off at the end of the year. We knew it was going to continue for a little while. People needed to accept that he was who he was, a good performing fantasy football player, and it wasn't going to drop off. It was hard to believe in him at first, but at some point you had to let go of that and go, okay, perfect storm. Patterson is who he is. He's a fantasy football monster for right now. Next year, I really would worry about carrying that over, and I think we're going to be right on that because he definitely fell apart kind of at the end. But there's still some value in Cordero if he lands in the right spot. But he would be a good addition to the Niners if he was to land there. And yes, they still have Sermon, as 49ers said. And I think Anthony Lynn will want to work with Sermon and could get the most out of him, hopefully. Hopefully Lynn is very, what's the word? Unable to screw this up. I don't want Anthony Lynn to be running some committee. I don't mind him using multiple backs in San Francisco, especially you run 35 times. You don't want Mitchell getting 35 carries. So you want to change a pace back. You want to divide it up a little bit. But yeah, I'd probably take Patterson over Sermon right now. Sermon's got a lot to prove, but maybe Lynn can get something out of him. 2 a.m. in New York, yeah. I'm probably heading out. I just wanted to jump on, do a Q&A, talk a little bit about Dalvin Cook. Appreciate everybody being here. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. Hit the thumbs up no matter what. And I think we got, how many thumbs up do we have? 8 thumbs up. We have 43 people in here. Can we get that to match? Help your boy Smitty. If you've enjoyed this live stream at all, whether you're new or you're an OG, like literally 9. We're at 9 thumbs up. 43 of you sitting in here. Help your boy Smitty. Just punch it. Just smash it. Just smash the heck out of that button. Just take control and make it yours. Make it your prisoner and just smash the button over. Don't do it over and over. It'll unlike it. but hit it one good time. One good smash. Let's see here. There we go. 35. Out of broskies. 32. That's what I'm talking about. Maybe it was a little higher. I had to refresh it. Maybe it was at like 20. Appreciate you guys doing that. Please ask me a question too. If I didn't get to something or you think of it later, I'm literally on my questions for 3 times is fine because you hit 1, then you undo it, and then you hit it again. It's fine. Don't do it more than 3. Don't do it more than once. But if you did do it twice, you got to punch it again. I'm literally up, looking at my comments. The comments help my channel. Okay, I have an incentive. Not only do I want to help you, but I have an incentive to help you. And so I'm amazed at someone saying you didn't get to my question, and they never asked me the question. I'm sitting here. I literally sit here and answer any questions you guys have tonight on my channel in the comments. Let's go. Appreciate everybody here. If you're new, please hit subscribe. We'd love to have you stay. And I'll see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. The show is Monday through Friday. And guys, what are you doing? Get on over to Underdog Fantasy, for goodness sakes. Are we really not? Where's this banner? Where's this Underdog banner? Get on over to Underdog Fantasy. All you have to do is go to smitty1.com, which I'm putting on screen here. All you got to do is go to smitty1.com. This banner pops right up. Click the banner. Do it. Click the banner and get your fantasy football best ball drafts on. Not to mention, if you jump in and grab a spot on Underdog, grab your account, do the $10 minimum. $10 minimum. Go to smitty1.com, click the Underdog banner, $10 minimum. Use promo code Smitty if you go there without going through the darn link at smitty1.com. Use promo code Smitty, $10 minimum, and then you're ready to go. When we do the best ball drafts, you won't have to sign up and miss out on getting in. You'll be ready to roll. Maybe we do one tomorrow night. Maybe we'll do a best ball draft tomorrow night. I'll see you all later. I'll be looking for you in the comments. Thank you, Ozzy. Thank you, Hasbullah. Thank you, 49er. Thank you, Brian. What's up, pal? Brian. And if I missed your question, I wasn't trying to ignore anybody. What's up, Hazelnut? What's up, Clayton? I wasn't trying to ignore any of you, but if I missed your question, Mr. TD, anybody, Chandler, ask me in the comments. For goodness sake, I'm up. Let's do it. Let's do this.